Welcome into the Steelers Talk live show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Literally 20 seconds before we started this live show, the Dallas Cowboys have traded Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers literally a week before the season opener next week, Cowboys versus Eagles. This is massive breaking news in the National Football League. We'll talk about it here a little bit at the top of today's show. But, man, welcome into the show, guys. We've got a lot of Steelers stuff to talk about today. But, man, Ponzi, it's going to be tough not to talk about Micah Parsons being traded to the Green Bay Packers. He is reportedly being paid now $47 million per season. This is unbelievable and one of the worst moves, in my opinion, in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. We still have to learn what the compensation is. But, Ponzi, you are a Dallas Cowboys fan. What are your thoughts on Micah Parsons to the Packers?
I mean, I don't know what to even say. Like any other team, it's just, regarding the Cowboys, it's just not really even working. I mean, it's crazy to say what we're going. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to feel. Like, in my opinion, I kind of knew that he was going to get traded, but I didn't know who he was going to get traded to. But to the Packers, a team that the Cowboys have lost to 3 times of the past 10 years in the playoffs, I mean, worst destination, in my opinion. I don't even know what to say.
I mean, I'm a bit speechless too, but we obviously have Steelers content to get to here on today's live show. We got the latest news and rumors, so the latest trade rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers, a couple more wide receiver rumors that are out there surrounding the black and gold, and then we're going to be talking a little bit today about college quarterbacks that you guys need to be keeping your eye on here over the weekend. It is week 1 of college football. Lots of stuff to talk about here on today's show. So spam those me's in the chat if you want a shout out on today's show to kick us off. We got 250 people watching live. Of course, we got my beautiful fiance Cassie Voth in the chat. We got Javon, we got Eugene, we've got Christopher Domingo, Zara Craig, Steelers Nation, Voxy, Javon, Taco Salad. We've got Javon, we got Rez, we got Michelle, we got Colby Wolf, we've got Brack, we got Brock Walker. We've got Daryl Oglesby here. We've got Brock Walker here. We've got Chuck Dugan here. Kermit is my God here. Kevin Reed, Doug. We've got Xavier. We got Michael Beard. We've got Christian Andujar. We got a whole lot of Yinzers ready to talk some football today. But do we have the the trade details here? I don't think we do. But it is a 4-year, $188 million deal for Micah Parsons to go to the Green Bay Packers. Of course, this affects the Steelers because they'll be playing the Packers on Sunday Night Football in Week 8 at Acrisure Stadium. And it feels like the Cowboys season is officially over, Ponzi. It feels like they're officially throwing in the towel. I mean, that defense is going to be one of the worst in the league now without Parsons.
I mean, I feel like, with regarding, of course, how this affects the Steelers is too, we just saw TJ Watt's contract get affected with, getting that extension. But now this kind of affects the NFL because $47 million.
Yes, that's now the number.
If you're an edge rusher.
Yeah, that's the bar.
There's no other way to say it. I'm glad the Steelers got their deal done with TJ Watt before this happened. Because imagine if you were in the Steelers situation. Now, how do you feel if you're the Bengals? Because Trey Hendrickson has that deal coming up too.
I mean, yeah.
It's going to be a crazy.
I mean, this year, the Bengals definitely got, I'm seeing double right now, Ponzi, if we can get a nice double off of me here. But, this is just massive news, obviously, here, guys. And, this is going to affect the NFC. I think the Packers, you have to discuss them as a legitimate Super Bowl contender at this point with a defensive player as good as him on that side of the ball. I mean, would they be more willing to trade Romeo Doubs now because they're going to need some draft capital in the future? Because they're definitely trading a ton, whatever it ends up being here. All right, we should be back live here on Steelers Talk. We apologize here. We are going to be getting all of our graphics back re-imported here while we get the rest of the live show ready here, guys. Let's talk a little bit about the Micah Parsons situation as we continue to get our audience back here. Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, guys, when it comes to this entire situation is the mishandling of this situation by Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, who apparently just refused to negotiate with Micah Parsons' agent. From Jones's point of view, he already agreed to a contract with Micah himself, and he didn't want to renegotiate the deal with his agent. From Micah's perspective, they had discussions, kind of loose discussions during the offseason, agreed on some things, but he wanted his agent to be the one that negotiated his deal. The Cowboys refused to deal with his agent, and now they have just traded maybe the best defensive player in the National Football League to the Green Bay Packers a week before the start of the 2025 NFL season. This is a dramatic decrease in the amount of talent that the Dallas Cowboys defense has. We'll see what they get in return. I'm guessing they're getting someone from Green Bay, an edge rusher back in return, whether that's Rashawn Gary, whether that's Lucas Van Ness. I don't know. But we'll see. I'm guessing they're getting a treasure trove of picks, but it appears that Micah Parsons will no longer be a Dallas Cowboy, which feels like the end to the Dallas Cowboys this season this year. We still got 228 people watching live, guys. I appreciate your guys' patience. We had a little bit of technical difficulties here, but we'll get the train back on the tracks for you guys as soon as we possibly can. I'm still looking for trade, compensation here. It hasn't happened yet, but Micah Parsons is going to be getting $47 million per season from the Green Bay Packers, once again resetting the edge market. And what an offseason it has been for the edge rushers of the National Football League. I mean, $47 million. That doesn't just shatter the edge rusher market, guys. That shatters the non-quarterback market as well. All right, like when Myles Garrett got that record-shattering deal of $40 million per season, we thought that was crazy. And then Jamar Chase got slightly more than that. And then T.J. Watt got around that number. And now it's not even close. It looks like 2 first-round picks and a player is what it's going to be. Who knows what the player is going to be? My guess is it's Rashawn Gary. My best guess is it's 2 firsts and Rashawn Gary for Micah Parsons. So obviously that is ginormous breaking news in the National Football League right now. We will get to our 2 Steelers segments on today's show. We got the latest news and rumors surrounding the black and gold, and then we also are going to be having college quarterbacks for you guys to keep your eye on. The Steelers almost assuredly are going to be taking a quarterback in the first round of next year's NFL draft. I got 7 quarterbacks that you got to watch out for this weekend that will be coming up later in today's show. If you guys got questions, if you guys want to get up on the stream, make sure you guys use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show here. Dom D12 with a $2 super chat says, thank God the Ravens didn't get Micah at least. Yeah, man. I mean, the Ravens are one of the teams that probably would have been in the running there. I would say the Buffalo Bills were probably another team, New England Patriots, but Green Bay was really the team that was front and center. Ricky, our favorite People's Insider, has been connecting Micah to the Packers for a very, very long time now. And now the deal finally gets done. Adam Schefter and a bunch of other people said today that the Cowboys started listening to trade offers, and it appears it's going to be 2 first-round picks and a front-line player. My guess is that is going to be Rashawn Gary, but that is not confirmed at this point. And I mean, that is just monumental. I mean, it's a phenomenal move for the Green Bay Packers. They've already paid their franchise quarterback in Jordan Love. They believe in him. They're not going to be spending those first-round picks on quarterbacks anytime soon. And the chances that either one of those first-round picks gets even close to as valuable as Micah Parsons is going to be to getting them to where they want to go, which is a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, it's just, I mean, it's not even close, all right? So this is a phenomenal deal, it appears, for the Green Bay Packers. It is an absolute embarrassment for the Dallas Cowboys to completely botch this. I mean, they had a superstar level player, maybe the best defensive player in football in Micah Parsons in terms of the number of things he can do, all right? He can line up over the ball. He can line up on the edge. He can play off-ball linebacker if you need him to. You can play him out in coverage. He's a good run defender. Obviously, he's an elite disruptor and pass rusher. I mean, he was the Dallas Cowboys defense for many seasons there in Arlington, and now he goes to a Green Bay Packers team where they've got some pieces there now, man. Like, they've got a really good linebacking room. Their secondary's a little bit shoddy at best. Their cornerback room's not great now that Jair Alexander is no longer there. But, like, Micah Parsons changes the math when it comes to how good your football team is. And, like, that team has to be considered a legitimate Super Bowl contender in the NFC heading into this year. And that's going to be completely life-changing for Cowboys fans and Packers fans alike for the next, several months. So that is absolutely crazy. So I think some people are saying it is Kenny Clark down there in the comment section. If that's true, yes, it is. Kenny Clark. So Kenny Clark's a good interior defensive player. He's nothing close to Micah Parsons. I'm just going to take a look real quick here, guys, at Dallas's edge rusher room at this point in time. Ponzi's letting me know here that we are almost ready. But right now, you've got Marshawn Nealand. You have Sam Williams, Peyton Turner, Dante Fowler Jr., Donovan Ezeraku, James Houston. Those are your edge rushers in Dallas this year. So you go from having, maybe the best pass rusher, maybe defensive player in the game, to not having him, and you don't really have like a good edge rusher room. And then you do have Osa Odigizua, who's a good pass rusher on the interior. And then Kenny Clark is a good interior defensive player. But, man, that defense in Dallas just took a ginormous step down. And honestly, the season opener next week in Philly just got a lot less interesting. The Cowboys stink. All right, the Cowboys are not a good football team, and they're going up against one of the most, eloquently and most competently constructed rosters in the history of football in the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, is that game even going to be close? I feel like that game's going to be an absolute blowout. So, I mean, well done, Jerry Jones. Way to fuck up your football team, man. That's all I've got to say. That is an absolute joke that you weren't willing to come to the table and deal with a player's agent. I'm at a loss for words. I really am. All right, we got full trade details here from Adam Schefter. Officially, 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark is what the compensation is. And given that Ricky was saying the compensation that the Packers were willing to give was 2 firsts, like a second, a fifth, or whatever, like, oh my goodness, man. This is just absolutely groundbreaking news, obviously. But we're going to have Steelers coverage for you guys on today's show. Bernard Nixon coming in with a $2 super chat. Says, Nick Wright said Rodgers is washed. Do you agree? I don't agree with that. Bernard, you know how I feel about Rodgers. I think he has to prove it. He hasn't played, a top 10 level season in terms of the efficiency numbers since 2021. Now, that's not all his fault, right? He had a broken thumb in 2022. He obviously tore his Achilles in 2023. And then last year, it was just an absolute shit show there in New York. Everything from coaching to coordination to offensive line play to run game help to defense to special teams. Like, Rodgers was not the biggest issue there in New York last season. And now he's being brought in here to Pittsburgh with a very stable organization, an offensive line that's on the upswing and has looked pretty good during the preseason. I actually like the weapons group here. If you include the tight end group, I really do see the vision that the Steelers have on offense this year. Then you might have the best defense in the National Football League this year. So personally, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen here with the Pittsburgh Steelers and with Aaron Rodgers. I think that he's kind of the perfect quarterback for what the Steelers are looking for right now, which is why I advocated for this team to sign him this offseason. Even when he wasn't the only option left on the market, I was saying go get Rodgers. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover on today's show. The latest Steelers news and rumors is going to be our first segment of the day. But then we're also going to be talking about some college quarterbacks that you guys need to be watching out for heading into the 2025 season here. As college football actually began last weekend, but it actually gets going again here today. Some games, we got number 25 Boise State playing tonight. Minnesota is playing tonight. I think Dylan Raiola and the Nebraska Cornhuskers are playing tonight, so definitely going to be interesting to watch college football this weekend. But I'm going to be getting some college QBs later in today's show for you guys to watch if you are a Steelers fan. But Ponzi, how are we doing right here? Are we feeling pretty good? Okay, so do we want to get into let's go over the donation menu here real quick. Let's get back on the tracks here because this has just been absolutely nuts to start today's show with the breaking news and all the different stuff that's been happening. But if you guys want to support the show today, shout out to Dominic and Bernard for sending in $2 super chats. If we can get to $50 total on today's show, we're going to give away a Steelers Talk hat. The hat that I'm wearing today, by the way, guys, shout out to Damian Roy. If you're watching, Damian Roy sent me this hat. He made it custom just for me, so I had to wear it on the live show today. But we're going to be giving away a Steelers Talk hat at the end of the show if we can make $50 or more in donations. $5 gets you into the raffle. $10 gets you 3 raffle tickets. $20 gets you 10 tickets plus your name into the Gong squad here. We got the Gong right here. Already got a bunch of names on there this season. If you want to join us, $20 to get on the Gong. $50, you get to join Steelers Talk Hat Club. So if you don't want to deal with the raffle, you just want a Steelers Talk hat, $50 gets you into the Hat Club this year, and then $250 total, and we'll hit the Gong for you guys. And if you guys want to get double the raffle tickets today, you guys can send in a Venmo at Jack-Sperry or at Captain Jackrabbit on PayPal. The reason why we double your raffle tickets when you donate via Venmo and PayPal is because YouTube takes a 30% cut of every single super chat that you guys send in. But with Venmo and PayPal, we get to keep more of those proceeds to help us pay for all the stuff we need to pay for to keep this operation going here at Steelers Talk. And if you guys don't have money to support the channel with, that's absolutely fine. All we care about is that you love the Steelers, you want to talk ball with us today, but you can give me a follow at Jack_Sperry for daily Steelers updates on social media, and you get a free raffle ticket in today's hat raffle. Shout out here to Michelle West, who put in a $5 PayPal. Big shout out to Michelle. She's got 3 raffle tickets today. I'm going to give her some extra raffle tickets here for putting in a $5 PayPal. Big shout out to Michelle. She's one of the real ones that watches our show every single time we go live. So now we have some super chats to get to. We already talked about these here, but Dom, $2, says, thank God the Ravens didn't get Micah. Yeah, man, like if they would have got Micah Parsons, they would have one of the best rosters maybe ever in the NFL. But I don't think they had the money to pay Micah what the Packers ended up paying him, $47 million per season. That is absolutely absurd, and it's going to completely break the NFL's way that they negotiate with these high-end players. Not just at the edge rusher position, but if you have a really good cornerback, if you have a really good wide receiver, and they want to be the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, they're going to have to meet Micah Parsons' number here at $47 million per season. Remember when Myles Garrett signed his deal at $40 and everyone thought that was just bananas? It's almost $20 million higher than what the market was at the beginning of the offseason. That's per season, Ponzi. That's crazy. $2 here from Bernard. He says, Nick Wright said Rodgers is washed. Do you agree? We've already discussed that. No, I don't. I believe in Rodgers heading into this season. Obviously, he needs to prove it, but I think that he has a very good chance of doing just that heading into the year. And then we got a $2 super chat here from Justin Yankuski. Says, who is our X if Metcalf gets hurt? Justin, right now, I think that's the biggest vulnerability on the Steelers roster. That's why I think the Steelers have shown some interest in Gabe Davis and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Obviously, they haven't signed Gabe Davis, likely because of some knee issues, and then Marquez ended up going to the 49ers. But in terms of right now, who comes in if Metcalf gets hurt? I hate to say it to you, but it's Ben Skoranek. Ben Skoranek, is the only guy that can truly play that bigger-bodied X guy, and he's not really a receiver. So the Steelers are in trouble if they don't get an X receiver, which is why I've been saying, if you can get a Gabe Davis, if you can get even like an Odell Beckham Jr. or a Nelson Aguilar or DJ Chark, if DK Metcalf goes down, this offense and this passing offense really seems to be screwed. So in my opinion, you go out and get that bigger body backup at some point here. But, it seems like the Steelers really do believe in obviously DK, but then also Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin as their number 2 and number 3 options. But obviously, Justin, their biggest vulnerability is if Metcalf gets hurt and who gets to play X in that scenario. Maybe they would move up Robert Woods from the practice squad, but that's not necessarily something that you would want necessarily. So, hopefully they can find a replacement level X receiver, whether that is bringing in Gabe Davis. I still think that's a possibility. Whether that's bringing in an Odell Beckham Jr., whether that's bringing in a DJ Chark. I don't think they're going to make any more super sexy moves for like a starting caliber guy. Who knows? Maybe they trade for Romeo Doubs. Maybe they trade for Jacoby Myers. Maybe they trade for Juwan Jennings. That's like the best case scenario at this point. But it certainly seems like the team is going to go into the year with DK Metcalf, Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin III. All right, man. So coming up on today's show, we're going to get into our first segment here in just a second, the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then our second segment today, college quarterbacks to watch this weekend. Without further ado, I'm still flustered from this Micah Parsons news. I'm still trying to, kind of wrap my head around the fact that Micah Parsons is on a new football team and what that means for the NFL landscape this year. Ponzi's shaking his head. He doesn't like it at all. I don't either. Jerry Jones is an absolute moron. But now let's shift our focus to Steelers content for you guys. We got over almost 400 people watching live right now. So without further ado, let's get into the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tonight on Steelers Talk, we're going to be talking about the possibility of the Steelers trading for Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson. Multiple media outlets have linked Richardson to the Steelers in recent days. I'm going to let you guys know my thoughts on that idea. Then we'll go into a Bleacher Report article that says that the Steelers should try and trade for Saints wide receiver Brandin Cooks. Then we'll finish up today's show with some remaining Steelers wide receiver targets that the Steelers can still consider bringing in if they still want to add somebody to this room before the start of the 2025 season. Welcome into Steelers Talk, guys. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Before we get into the content today, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button and join our family here on Steelers Talk. We give you guys daily, free, and informative Steelers content on this channel. Also, we go live at least twice during the week, and then we go live for our live watch parties for every single Steelers game. Also, breaking news coverage. So if Omar Khan makes a big move before the start of the season or before the trade deadline this year, we'll make sure to go live with breaking news coverage for you guys. We're so close to 90,000 subscribers. Help us get there before the start of week 1 by clicking that subscribe button right now. And with that, let's get into today's rumors coverage, starting with multiple media outlets here, Bleacher Report and ESPN, both suggesting that the Steelers should trade for Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson. We'll start with Alex K from Bleacher Report, who says that the Steelers should give up a mid-round draft pick next year to get Richardson in their building. Alex says the Steelers may be all in on a Super Bowl run this year following the addition of Aaron Rodgers, but they still need to keep an eye on the future with this likely to be future Hall of Famers' final season. While Pittsburgh did utilize a day 3 pick on Will Howard, the 6th-rounder is a long-term project with limited upside. The team could try to rehabilitate a signal caller with a far higher ceiling by trading for Anthony Richardson. Given the Steelers managed to coax a promising performance from Justin Fields last year that led to him signing a big contract with the Jets, it wouldn't be too shocking to see Richardson play his best football yet in a black and yellow uniform. Giving up a day 2 pick for a high-reward franchise QB would be well worth it. In this scenario, the Colts would, never mind, then we get to ESPN's Bill Barnwell, who has this to say about the Steelers potentially getting Anthony Richardson. He says, in this scenario, the Colts would land compensation in line with what the 49ers received in 2023 for Trey Lance, a 2026 4th-round pick, a similarly frustrating former top 5 pick who was traded away after 2 pro seasons. There's some early excitement around rookie 6th-round pick Will Howard, but he has missed the preseason with a broken pinky. Plus, it's always optimistic to believe a 6th-round pick is going to turn into a starting quarterback, even if there's just one very famous exception from the Big Ten. So you talk about Anthony Richardson, guys. He's 23 years old, still very young, still developing. Obviously, terrific size at 6'4", 244 pounds, dynamic rusher of the football. He was the 4th overall pick back in 2023 to the Indianapolis Colts. He's got less than 20 starts under his belt at the moment. And this preseason, guys, he lost the QB competition in Indy to Daniel Jones. Not Daniels Jones, Daniel Jones there, who was just absolutely terrible. I ranked him my 31st ranked starting quarterback heading into the year, Daniel Jones, and Richardson couldn't even beat him out for the starting position there in Indianapolis. So this is not somebody that I think the team should probably go get, but he is Mike Tomlin's type. We did see last year after the Steelers brought in Russell Wilson, an opportunity presented itself to trade a conditional 6th-round pick in exchange for Justin Fields, who has a very similar physical profile to what Anthony Richardson would be bringing to the table. But guys, Barnwell and Kay, these guys suggest that the Steelers should give up like a 3rd or 4th-round pick in exchange for Anthony Richardson, and I'm just here to tell you right now, there is no way the Pittsburgh Steelers trade a mid-round draft pick in exchange for Anthony Richardson. I think it would have to be something very, very similar to the Justin Fields trade, and honestly, I'm not sure if the Steelers are even willing to part ways with any of their picks in next year's NFL draft. They worked really hard to get those compensation picks. Right now, they have a ton of draft capital next year at their disposal, but for a backup quarterback, that may or may not be the future of this franchise. I don't know if they'd be willing to give up a draft pick, especially when it seems like the plan is to take a quarterback in next year's NFL draft. So for me, guys, what I would do is I would go Anthony Richardson and then a conditional 2027 6th-round pick. All right, and it's pretty much the same exact deal that you did for Fields, where if Richardson plays more than 50% of the snaps for the Steelers offense next season, all right, not this season, next season, that pick can turn into a 4th-rounder. So essentially, if Richardson becomes the franchise quarterback for Pittsburgh, that pick goes from a 6th to a 4th-round pick, all right? And then also, the Colts would probably need a backup quarterback in return, since Richardson would presumably be the number 2 quarterback. If you trade for him, that means Mason Rudolph is available to swap with Indianapolis. So I think that that's probably the deal that makes the most sense. But honestly, guys, I'm not even sure if Pittsburgh would pull that trigger, all right? I think that their plan at the quarterback position is pretty set heading into the 2025 campaign. And like I said, I don't know if the Steelers would really view Anthony Richardson as a long-term starting option given the way he started his NFL career. This year, without a question, belongs to Aaron Rodgers, right? Even if you do trade for Anthony Richardson, as long as Rodgers is healthy and as long as the Steelers are still in the playoff hunt, he will be starting the football game, plain and simply. And I do expect the Steelers to be in the playoff hunt at the very least by the end of the season. So this season definitely belongs to Aaron Rodgers. But if something does, God forbid, happen to Rodgers, Mason Rudolph is a proven QB2 here. He has shown that he can come in and he can win football games as this team's starting quarterback. Now, is he a starter? No. Would you want him to be your QB1? No. But like as a QB2, he has proven himself to be more than serviceable for this football team. And I think that's good enough especially when you're planning on getting your future franchise quarterback in next year's NFL draft. And then when it comes to Thompson and Howard, those guys are very well liked QB3 and 4 options in this team. Obviously, Will Howard is going to be going to IR to start the season. But if this season goes to crap and like you're not in the playoff race by the end of the season, I think Will Howard might have a chance to start a couple games or one game at the end of the year if this team is not in playoff contention by week 17 or week 18. And then there's also the fact that I just don't think Richardson is worth the risk of acquiring, all right? Like, this is a former top 5 pick. Obviously, he's got incredible physical potential. But, like, if you've watched any film on Anthony Richardson his first 2 years in the league, you just know that this guy has not been a good quarterback. And, frankly, he wasn't good in the preseason this year either. Like we talked about, he lost a quarterback battle to Daniel frickin' Jones this year, all right? So you take a look at his numbers, his first 2 years of his career, 2024 last year, a less than 50% completion percentage, which is even worse than his rookie season. He's never completed more than 60% of his passes in a season. 12 interceptions to just 8 passing touchdowns last year. The QBR has been absolutely terrible both seasons. Like, this is just not a good quarterback right now, guys. And maybe you can say, oh, well, with his physical talent and being mentored by Aaron Rodgers for a year, he could turn it around. And I think that's the best possible case that you can make for Anthony Richardson. Richardson. But personally, guys, I would rather try my luck with the next wave of quarterbacks that are coming out in the 2026 NFL draft. There's a number of guys that could go in the first round next year. And even if the Steelers are drafting in the 20s and they make the playoffs this year, there's going to be opportunities for this team to trade up and take their guy to be the next franchise quarterback of this team that, frankly, I would rather have than Anthony Richardson at this point in his NFL journey. If you guys want to check out all the top quarterbacks in college football this year and my thoughts on those players, we put out a first look video surrounding the 2026 QB draft class a couple of months ago that you guys can check out on the channel after today's show if you would like. All right, man, so let me know. And make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you never want to miss a video here on Steelers Talk. We're going to be doing a bunch of college football quarterback content on this channel over the next several weeks and months on the channel here. So if you guys don't want to miss a video here over the next several months and you want to know exactly who these quarterbacks are and which ones the Steelers should consider next year, make sure you guys click that subscribe button. Now let me know down there in the comment section, would you accept this trade for Anthony Richardson, a conditional 2027 sixth-round pick and Mason Rudolph in exchange for Richardson? Type A for accept or D for decline. This is going to be a pinned comment on today's show. So in just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today. And while I'm telling you about our sponsor, go down there in the comment section and let me know A for accept or D for decline. And with that, let's have word from our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And guys, college football is finally here, so don't miss out on any of the action this season by downloading the Prize Picks app for free today. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks also puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports this football season. Join millions of users and sign up today. This weekend, guys, week 1 of college football, I'm going to take the more on Garrett Nussmeier passing yards, the more on passing touchdowns for Nico Iamaleava. I'm going to take the more on Lenoris Sellers rush yards because the dude's a dog. So if you want to download the Prize Picks app today, you guys can use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup on the Prize Picks app today. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup on the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. So now shifting our focus back over to wide receiver rumors here on Steelers Talk, where there's a new article from Bleacher Report that suggests the Steelers should pursue Saints wide receiver Brandin Cooks via trade before the start of the season. If you'll remember, the Saints just traded for Devon Vele from the Denver Broncos, and Brandin, older kind of receiver, might want to try and play for a contender. That's kind of the angle that Bleacher Report takes here, but their trade ideas, the Steelers would send the Saints a 5th-round pick next year. The Steelers have multiple of those heading into next year's draft at the moment, and the Steelers would get Brandin Cooks, who would presumably be their number 2 receiver if they end up making this trade. This article was written by Mo Moton from Bleacher Report, who said this about the Steelers potentially targeting Cooks. In his 12th year, Cooks could be a better fit on a playoff contending squad rather than a team in its early stages of a rebuild with a starting quarterback who has an uncertain short-term future. Moreover, the Saints have a young trio of receivers in Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Devon Vele. Regardless of how their season pans out, the Saints may be willing to move Cooks for draft capital. The Steelers should be one of the strongest suitors for Cooks, who would be the team's second-best wideout behind DK Metcalf. Calvin Austin III made strides as a big play receiver last season, but quarterback Aaron Rodgers can target Cooks as his reliable chain mover in the aerial attack. All right, guys, so personally, I would rather not go with Brandin Cooks as the trade target for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. He's getting older. He's completely lost his legs, in my opinion. And Cooks used to be somebody that was kind of similar to Calvin Austin III, where, kind of smaller receiver, even though Brandin is bigger than Calvin. But what really made Brandin special was his ability to threaten to all 3 levels of the field, be a vertical threat, make tough catches, despite, being a little bit smaller. But he's lost that ability to separate down the field, which means he's more of just a short and intermediate threat. He still has good hands. He's not useless as a wide receiver, don't get me wrong, but he's definitely on the downswing. And I completely disagree with the idea that he would be the second best receiver on the Steelers if they ended up getting him. You guys can take a look at the last 4 seasons season stat-wise for Brandin Cooks. Dealt with some injuries last year, only played in 10 games, but less than 260 yards receiving, less than 30 yards a game, and he had 3 touchdowns. But, it's definitely a step down from where it's been in previous seasons, both with Dallas and with Houston. Brandin is past the age of 30. That's usually when we start to see some regression from these types of wide receivers. So, honestly, I think that he's on the downward swing. And, honestly, when I look at the receiver room here in Pittsburgh, I like Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III better than Brandin Cooks at this stage of his NFL career. Roman is the better run blocker, which is going to give him more value as the early down receiver here in Pittsburgh. That's one of the big reasons why the Steelers went out and used a 3rd-round pick on Roman Wilson, is because they feel like he is a perfect fit to be this team's number 2 wide receiver. And then Calvin Austin III, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Brandin Cooks when he was younger. Somebody that's got some really great vertical stretching ability. He can track the ball well down the field. He can make tough catches. A lot of people forget that Calvin Austin, for somebody that doesn't have a big catch radius, can make tough catches. All right, we saw that down the stretch last year, and he's way faster at this point than Cooks is. So I just don't see where Cooks would fit in here other than being a wide receiver 4. He doesn't address the Steelers' biggest need right now, in my opinion, which is you need somebody that can play X if DK Metcalf goes down with an injury, but Brandin Cooks is not big enough to play that position, at least not in my opinion. So just like yesterday, we talked about how Deontay Johnson wasn't really a fit given his play style. I don't think Brandin Cooks is either, so I'd rather pass on Brandin Cooks, especially if he costs a 5th-round pick. But in this same article from Mo Moton from Bleacher Report, they also send Romeo Doubs to the Tennessee Titans. So certainly Bleacher Report thinks that Romeo Doubs could be on the move at some point here. Now, in this trade article, they have Doubs going to the Titans in exchange for a 4th-round pick. Now, what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to suggest that we combine these 2 trade rumors from Bleacher Report and try to make it something where I think it would make more sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into the season here, because I think Romeo Doubs makes way more sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers than Brandin Cooks does. All right, he's bigger. He can play X if you absolutely need him to. If DK Metcalf goes down, he's got chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. I just think it makes a lot more sense for Romeo Doubs to be the target for the Steelers than it is for Brandin Cooks to be that target. So Mo Moton said this about Romeo Doubs and why he thinks the Packers could move him. He says the Packers can go 4 deep at wideout with Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Dontavian Wicks, and Doubs. Christian Watson will begin the season on the PUP list, but general manager Brian Gutekunst believes the 26-year-old will be, quote-unquote, chomping at the bit to return after 4 weeks. When Watson is back on the field, Doubs, who according to SI.com's Bill Huber was frustrated with his role last season, could be expendable for the right compensation. The 25-year-old has a manageable $3.6 million cap number in the final term of his rookie deal. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to combine the trade ideas that Bleacher Report kind of put in their article here, where I'm going to have the Steelers trade that 5th-round pick that they sent over to the Saints for Brandin Cooks, but just apply it to Romeo Doubs, all right? Doubs is a backup receiver for the Green Bay Packers heading into the year, all right? A 5th-round pick, especially now that they've traded for Micah Parsons, and they've traded away 2 first-round picks. This gives them an opportunity to recoup some of that draft capital, even though it's not even close to a first-round pick. But Doubs is not going to play a whole lot in their offense this year anyway, especially when Watson gets back. So I think this is still a deal that makes sense for both sides and could still realistically happen if the Steelers want to make it happen. But then some other potential trade targets to keep your eye on. Jacoby Myers and Juwan Jennings. Now both the Raiders and the Niners claim that they're not trading these guys, but both Myers and Jennings have said if you're not going to pay us, we want to be traded elsewhere. So until that resolution gets completely smoothed over in Vegas and in San Fran, you have to at least consider Myers and Jennings legitimate options if the Steelers want to get aggressive. But it certainly seems like, and we've been talking about this on the channel for several days now, guys, it seems like the Steelers are fine moving forward with Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III. They drafted Roman where they did last year for a reason. Their plan all along was for him to be the number 2 receiver heading into this season, and it seems like he's done enough in training camp and preseason to show them and show this team that, they can go into the season believing in him. And then Calvin Austin is honestly the perfect number 3 wide receiver for this team, as somebody that can't run block, but he's really good at route running. He's got good hands for somebody of his size. He's a good yak threat, downfield vertical threat as well. So honestly, I see where the Steelers are coming from, wanting to keep these 2 guys in the rotation, at least to start the season. But if they do add a wide receiver, like I've been saying, guys, I think it would likely be a wide receiver 4 type, somebody that's a bigger guy, somebody that can come in for DK Metcalf if, God forbid, he goes down with an injury. Right now, the Steelers don't have that guy. They have a bunch of undersized guys, and then they've got Ben Skoranek, who's not really a receiver. He's more of a blocker, and he's more of a special teams ace. So to get a guy that can play X in the case of a DK Metcalf injury, I think it's still something that's very realistic for the Steelers to do. In terms of the free agency market, these are the names that still make sense. Gabe Davis, this team has shown interest in him. It wouldn't shock me if they bring him in to like practice squad or something like that and then elevate him. Kendrick Bourne is somebody that's still out there. Odell Beckham Jr. is a guy that apparently, according to him, has talked with the Steelers this offseason about potentially signing here. Nelson Aguilar is a longtime veteran. He's played in the division. He knows what's up in the AFC North. And then DJ Chark, bigger receiver with some speed, that's kind of fallen off in recent years, but somebody the Steelers could also consider if they need a backup X option. So let me know down there in the comments section, which wide receiver, if any, does the Pittsburgh Steelers need to add before the season? Does Pittsburgh add before the season? Do you think they go out and make a trade for Romeo Doubs? Do you think they bring in Gabe Davis? Do you think they bring in OBJ? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. And that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, Ponzi. 1 down, 1 to go. Coming up next, we've got college quarterbacks that you need to be watching out for this weekend. But now that we have a little bit of time here, I don't know if we got any more super chats. I think we did. I think we got 2 more super chats. Did I get any? I don't see any Venmos. Should be good on Venmos. But we got $5 from Steelers Nation. Says, how come no one acknowledges it's Aaron Rodgers' revenge tour? He plays the Jets first and his whole old division, which he owned. I think some people have mentioned it. I think Rich Eisen has definitely milked that cow quite a bit this offseason. And I've mentioned it on the show as well. I haven't in a while, but that is definitely a big storyline this year, Ponzi, and maybe a big reason why he wanted to come to Pittsburgh. It's because he plays the Jets in New York this year. I don't think he knew when he kind of made his quote-unquote decision that they were going to be playing the Jets, because I think he made his decision before he made the decision official. I think he pretty much made the decision within the first 2 weeks of training camp, or not training camp, free agency. That's why the Giants moved on and signed Russell Wilson. I think Rodgers pretty much knew at that point he was going to sign. He just wanted some extra time to take care of some personal matters. And at that point, obviously, the schedule hadn't come out yet. So he did know that the team would be playing the Jets. He just didn't know it would be in the season opener, which, of course, is just absolutely juicy, Ponzi. I cannot wait to see this team play the Jets week 1. Justin Fields has been struggling in the preseason and in training camp. This is probably the best defense in football, in my opinion, here in Pittsburgh this year. Justin likes to hold the ball for a long time, and this pass rush is going to get after him. So I'm excited for week 1. I know you guys are as well. And then $2 here from my man Bernard Nixon. Says, people say Rodgers is bad in the playoffs. He hasn't been back to the Super Bowl. He's been, I think, to 4 NFC Championship games since the Super Bowl.
4, yep.
And he's lost all of them. So, we'll see what happens here. I think part of the reason why some people would keep Rodgers out of the top 5 quarterbacks in NFL history is because he's only been to 1 Super Bowl. And now he won it. He is a champion. You can't take that away from him. And he's no doubt Hall of Fame. But, I think if you want to make the argument against Rodgers being a top 5 guy in history, you point to him not playing his best games in the biggest moments to get to the Super Bowl.
And, obviously there were some moments in those games. Of course, his NFC Championship loss to the Seahawks came in overtime, I believe.
Yep.
And that was the incredible onside kick where
Bostic.
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 He dropped the onside kick. And then the Falcons, that was a blowout. 49ers, that was a blowout. And then the Bucs, where their head coach made a questionable call of kicking the field goal rather than going for the touchdown to tie that game. And you could make the excuse that, Rodgers is getting held back by coaching, but there were some very questionable decisions. Mike McCarthy, for a lot of his Packers tenure, did not make good decisions.
No, he did not.
A lot of the time.
No, he did not.
I think that
terrible game manager.
Game managing, Dallas got to see that themselves, but
Yep.
I think that if you're talking about a quarterback, who would you? I mean, we saw it against Dallas. 30 seconds left. Throws a dime to Jared Cook on the sideline, and they win with 30 seconds left in the game. There's not a lot of quarterbacks who can win in the playoffs with less than a minute left.
100%. I'm seeing some people say trade for Tyreek Hill. Listen, man, if he's available, I would do it. I would give Miami a call and see if they're willing, but it sounds like they're going into the season with Tyreek. All right,
that is what it seems.
It sounds like they're going to go into the year and they're going to see if Tua and that group can put together a run this year. But if they don't, then I do think they will blow it up. I think Tyreek Hill might be more of a trade deadline target than he is a target right now, because I'm not sure if he's available right now.
No, I don't think so either. But I mean, hey, we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's crazy because we discussed this earlier on. I don't know if his value gets increased or decreased along the trade deadline, but I do think that the Dolphins at least consider it for maybe a second or a third.
Yeah, and the Steelers, I don't think are going to offer a second. They might be willing to offer a third, maybe. They've got multiple third-round picks next year as it stands right now. If I'm Miami and I want to unload Tyreek Hill, and I like the skill set that Calvin Austin brings to the table as somebody that can separate, somebody that is a very good downfield threat. Not only that, but he gives you special teams upside as well. That and a third-round pick, if I want to unload Tyreek Hill, this would be a package that I would consider if I'm Miami. But obviously, with a guy as good as Tyreek, they might want a second-round pick in Calvin. Or, maybe they're just not willing to come to the table. Because that's one of the things people need to realize, is that we can sit here and say, okay, Omar, go trade for Tyreek Hill, or go trade for Juwan Jennings, or go trade for Jacoby Myers. But the thing that you have to realize is that it takes two to tango. Or it's not like Omar can just boot up his Madden and just force trade this, right? San Francisco and Miami and Las Vegas, these teams need to be willing to come to the table. And right now, if you believe the reporting, none of them are going to come to the table, at least not right now. So we'll see what happens. It's not impossible that they land these guys. But I do think at this point, the most likely scenario is that the Steelers will go into the season and DK Metcalf, Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin III will be the starting trio for this team. And if Roman plays great, fantastic. If he doesn't play great in the first half of the season, then they will aggressively pursue guys like Tyreek Hill who could be available at the trade deadline. So I think that's the Steelers' plan, because the Steelers don't want to bench Roman Wilson and waste the first 2 years of his rookie contract, right? Remember, this team drafted him in the third round. They like him. They drafted him to be the future number 2 receiver of this football team. And they feel like they've seen enough from him in the offseason, in training camp, and in preseason for them to move forward with that plan, even though he hasn't proved it in games, in the regular season, right? So obviously it's a little bit of a risk, but Ponzi, I actually tweeted this out yesterday. It's the same exact strategy as the Minnesota Vikings are using with J.J. McCarthy. And everybody thinks that's the right decision. Everyone's like, yeah, you got to get your quarterback in there. Yeah, you got to see what you got in him. But with Roman Wilson, people are like, this is a stupid decision. He's unproven. We need an established guy. And it's like, first of all, the Steelers have seen Roman Wilson in practice every day. They saw him in the preseason games, and they liked what they saw. All right. Second of all, they spent a high draft pick on him, and it's understandable that they don't want to bring in a veteran and essentially bench their third-round pick that they believe in. Thirdly, F you guys. I don't know. But, I just feel like Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III have what it takes to really surprise some people this year, Ponzi. And, the third point that I forgot. This team is going to really prioritize the tight end room, too. People forget about this. Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth are essentially your number 2 and number 3 pass-catching weapons. All right, that's another way to think of this, because if you think of it that way, then Roman Wilson is your number 4, and then Calvin Austin is your number 5. And if you have an offense where you've got DK Metcalf as your number 1, Jonnu or Muth, pick your poison there for 2 and 3. Then you've got Roman as your 4. That's a really good run blocker and fits that role really nicely. And then you got Calvin, who's also a perfect fit for his role. Then you can start to see the vision for what the Steelers have for this group. Now, the thing that I will concede, Ponzi, is this team does need an X receiver to be a backup. Because if DK Metcalf goes down, we saw it last year. We were putting Scotty fucking Miller at X receiver last year when GP went down, and this team couldn't move the football. So you need that bigger presence, that guy that can fill DK Metcalf's shoes somewhat, at least in terms of role, if he gets injured. And honestly, like if Gabe Davis is willing to take a contract right now, I'd pay him vet minimum. If he gets injured, he gets injured. Like, who cares? It's vet minimum, right? You just need to have somebody in here. Unless Gabe can't run right now, I would sign him. That's what I would do right now, Ponzi. All right, man, but that's going to be we're going to be doing one more segment here, guys. It's a really fun segment. We're going to be talking about 7 college quarterbacks to watch this season. And this might be something that's a regular thing here on Steelers Talk during the season, because, the Steelers are going to be drafting a quarterback of some kind next season, most likely, all right? Unless Will Howard is their guy or whatever, or Aaron Rodgers comes back next season and they don't want to take a quarterback. The very, very likely scenario is the Steelers take a quarterback in round 1 next year in Pittsburgh. So we're going to be keeping tabs on all these top quarterbacks all throughout the college football season right here on Steelers Talk. This is our first video in that series, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you want weekly updates on all the top quarterback prospects for 2026. With that, let's get into our next segment here today. I think we're still somewhere around $30 away from doing the hat raffle. So if you guys want to get your donations in, great. If we don't get any more, we're unfortunately not going to be able to do the hat raffle today. But without further ado, let's get into our next segment here, college quarterbacks to watch in week 1 of the NCAA football season. College football season is officially back, and today on Steelers Talk, we're going to be talking about college quarterbacks that I think every Steelers fan should be watching in week 1 of the NCAA football schedule this weekend. We're going to be doing a lot of this type of content throughout the season, guys, because like it or not, the Steelers are most likely going to be taking a quarterback in next year's NFL draft. That's why we're going to be keeping tabs on these guys all season long. So if you guys want weekly updates on these top college quarterbacks that are draft eligible, let us know that you want more of this content by clicking that thumbs up icon and telling the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy this content. All right, so first up here, let's meet the top quarterbacks in college football this year that are draft eligible. All right, so right now, according to the consensus big board, there are 6 quarterbacks that are expected to go in round 1 and currently rank within the first 32 slots of the consensus big board. All right, so Cade Klubnik from Clemson is currently ranked number 1 on the consensus board. Then you got Arch Manning from Texas at number 2, Lenoris Sellers out of South Carolina, currently ranked number 3. Garrett Nussmeier from the LSU Tigers at number 4. Fernando Mendoza, I think that's a name that not a lot of football fans are familiar with. I think they're going to get very familiar with him as the season goes on. He's currently ranked number 8, coming over from the California Golden Bears. And then Drew Aller from Penn State is currently ranked 13th on the consensus board right now. Now, just a heads up, guys, I think Pittsburgh's chances of getting Arch Manning are extremely low. I do think there's a chance Arch comes out to the draft next year, but if he does, I have a really strong inclination it's only going to be if he's like a top 3 pick guaranteed, and he's going to be going to the Browns or the Saints. His family is very close with the 2 ownership groups there in New Orleans and in Cleveland. So I'm guessing that's where his family wants him to go. So if he's like a Heisman candidate this year, he's like the bona fide number 1 pick next year, and he can go to a spot that his family approves of, then I think he will come out. But the chances of the Steelers getting him next year, in my opinion anyway, at this point, very, very low. But, you also take a look at the quarterbacks that are knocking on the door of being first-round picks and have a legitimate chance to sneak into that group this year. Sam Leavitt from Arizona State, John Mateer from Oklahoma, some serious arm talent on that guy. Nico Iamaleava from UCLA transfers over from Tennessee. He's got a lot of arm talent too. Carson Beck was a big discussion piece last year, really underwhelming underwhelmed at Georgia. Now he's at Miami trying to get the Cam Ward experience. And then Miller Moss transferring to the school that developed Tyler Shuck and turned him into a round 2 pick. Of course, he's moving over from USC. And then the guys that I would say keep your eye on here as high upside guys. I wouldn't say these guys are anywhere close to first-round talents heading into the year, but they've got the physical talent here to be able to have breakout seasons this year and put themselves in the first-round conversation. That includes Arkansas's Taylon Green, SMU's Kevin Jennings, Dante Moore from Oregon, Jalen Daniels from Kansas, and then Malachi Nelson from UTEP. Keep your eye on those guys as they are very talented physically, and if they have breakout seasons, they could get into that first-round conversation. Speaking of Daniels, he did play in week 0 last week and had a hell of a performance versus Fresno State. He was 18 of 20 passing, super efficient for 176 yards passing. He added 47 yards rushing, and he had 3 touchdowns on the day. So that was the standout performance in week 0 among the guys that played, in my opinion. And now let's get into some of the matchups and the quarterbacks that you're going to have to be watching as a Steelers fan this weekend. We'll start with the Battle of the Tigers and the battle in Death Valley. They're in Clemson. LSU versus Clemson here on Saturday night. It's going to be very, very electric, guys. I can't wait for this game because it's going to be one of the higher profile quarterback battles in college football during the entire schedule. And we're getting it in week 1 here with Cade Klubnik, currently ranked number 1 on the consensus big board, and then Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, who's currently ranked 4th on that same consensus big board. So these are 2 guys that are expected to be in that mix for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be considering next year's NFL draft. And this is what Trevor Sikkema from PFF has to say in his scouting report on Cade Klubnik. He says there might not have been a more improved quarterback in college football than Klubnik this past season. After placing 102nd among FBS signal callers in 2023 with a 63.9 PFF passing grade, he was 5th in 2024 with an 87.7 mark. Only Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders threw for more touchdowns than the junior with 36, and those 2 were regarded as the 2 best quarterbacks in the 2025 NFL Draft. Klubnik was also 5th among all quarterbacks in America with 28 big-time throws. The former top quarterback recruit in 2022 high school class is finally starting to live up to the hype and has the potential to take a loaded Clemson roster to the promised land as a senior. So take a look at my initial scouting report on Cade Klubnik from his film from last year. He brings good size. Now, he's a little slender, could put on a little bit more poundage, but he's got more than enough size to see over the offensive line, all that different stuff. He's a really good touch passer, man. Like when he throws fades down the sideline, it is a beautiful touch ball. That is something that I really look for in terms of deep ball passing, and because it just leads to more consistency as a passer down the field. Also, he's a plus rusher. I wouldn't say he's a dynamic athlete, but he's definitely capable of moving around out there. I like his playmaking out of structure, his ability to move and to throw on the run. I like his quick release as well, and I think his first read processing is pretty darn good as well. Usually gets his eyes in the right spot and makes the correct read on his first read. But some of the cons here heading into the year: secondary read processing. If he has to get past his first read, he can struggle a little bit. And then also just general consistency, whether that's with accuracy, whether that's with decision making. Sometimes he leaves a little bit of the meat left on the bone. So I want to see more consistency from Klubnik. I don't agree that he's the number 1 quarterback in this class, at least not based on the film from last year. Certainly has the physical talent to be the number 1 pick next year, but he's going to have to prove it this year with the Tigers, and he's going to have to start it here against Garrett Nussmeier and the LSU Tigers. This is what Trevor from PFF has to say about Nussmeier's game. After sitting on the bench for 3 years, Nussmeier finally received his chance to start for the Tigers as a redshirt junior. He extended the flashes of brilliance he had as a backup over a full season and finished the year with the 5th most passing yards in the nation with over 4,000 and tied for 7th in big-time throws with 26. His 18 turnover-worthy plays were among the 20 most in the nation. He also adds virtually nothing as a runner. His 93 rushing yards in 2024 were easily the fewest of anyone on this list. But he's still a tough quarterback who's fearless in the pocket and is capable of making almost any throw on the field. Now, for me, guys, Nussmeier is going to be the golden child of all the Shanahan and McVay guys. They like their quarterbacks to be able to stand in the pocket, go through progressions, throw with anticipation. And Nussmeier, he reminds me of Matthew Stafford a little bit. He doesn't have quite the cannon that Stafford does, but in terms of the anticipation, in terms of the mental processor, the pocket toughness and the leadership, this guy is just the consummate Shanahan-McVay quarterback that's going to be able to get through his progressions, make the right decision with the football most of the time. Now, sometimes, he will throw it into a tight window, and he tries to cash checks with his arm that his arm just can't, cash, to be quite honest with you. And then the rushing upside is just not there. So if you're looking for more of a dual threat guy, Nussmeier's not going to bring that to the table, but I love his clean throwing mechanics. I love his mental processing. I love his anticipation. He would have been easily the number 2, or maybe, I'm not going to say he's better than Cam Ward right now, but he would have probably been my number 2 quarterback in this year's class if he would have came out. So who you got? Let me know down there in the comments section. Type CLEM for Clemson or type LSU for the LSU Tigers. For me, I'm going to go with the Clemson Tigers here, man. They're home. LSU always loses their week 1 matchup, it seems like, with Brian Kelly. They lost to USC last year. I think Klubnik is better than what Miller Moss did last year. So I'm going to go with the Clemson Tigers. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So in just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And while I'm talking about Prize Picks today, let me know who you got in this marquee college football matchup here in week 1. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks. And college football is finally here, folks, so don't miss any of the action this season by downloading the Prize Picks app for free on your phone. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks also puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks also offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports this football season. Join millions of users and sign up today. And guys, here's my Prize Picks projection for this week's college football action. I'm taking the more on Garrett Nussmeier passing yards. I'm taking the more on Nico Iamaleava's passing touchdowns. And I'm taking the more on Lenoris Sellers rushing yards. If you guys want to get a Prize Picks projection in for college football this weekend, download the Prize Picks app and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Second matchup that I want you guys to keep your eye on this week, it is my Notre Dame Fighting Irish going up against Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes. Now, last year, Cam Ward went from somebody that was expected to go maybe middle rounds, had talent but hadn't really realized it yet, to the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And this year, Carson Beck is hoping to get that same kind of treatment. Now, last year in Georgia, with a ton of help around him, Beck was not good whatsoever. He was not good under pressure. He was not good in big moments. The accuracy wasn't what it was lived up to be. He was supposed to be this really good executor of an offense, and he just wasn't at Georgia last year. So this year in Miami, he's hoping to turn it around and really cash in on the first-round pedigree that a lot of people thought he was with the Bulldogs. So that's definitely going to be one to keep your eye on because Notre Dame's defense is no joke. So if Carson Beck can slice up that defense, even though they'll be at home, that'll be a sign that Beck might be a name to watch out for here during the college football season. Then Lenoris Sellers will be playing on Sunday versus the Hokies of Virginia Tech. South Carolina will be home in that football game, and Sellers is one of the most intriguing quarterback prospects in this year's draft class, man. Like, he's big, he is strong, he's a dynamic rusher of the football with great playmaking instincts, really good pocket presence too. There's so much to like about Lenoris Sellers' game. The question is he going to live up to the hype, all right? Like, all the stuff that the draft people are saying heading into the year is that this kid has a really good chance of being the number 1 overall pick. So we'll see if he lives up to that hype. If he does, unfortunately, the Steelers likely won't have a chance to draft him next year, but we'll see what Lenoris Sellers is able to do with the Gamecocks this year. Another name to definitely keep your eye on here is Nico Iamaleava going up against the Utah Utes. Utah usually has a very good defense. That's going to be played at the Rose Bowl here. And, Nico is somebody that's taken a lot of flack over the offseason from moving on from Tennessee, going to UCLA because he wanted more money and all this different stuff with the NIL. But, Nico's got serious arm talent, man. Like, he's got great size. He was a big-time recruit coming out of high school. If he can really turn that UCLA offense into something special this year, we might be looking at somebody that gets into that first-round conversation next year's NFL draft. So definitely keep your eye out on Pasadena this weekend with Nico making his Bruins debut. Then we got Fernando Mendoza with the Indiana Hoosiers making his debut versus Old Dominion. There in Indiana this weekend. And, Mendoza is somebody that most people I don't think really know his name. He's coming over from Cal. They were not a great football team last year, but right now he is the number 8 overall player and the number 5 overall quarterback on the consensus big board. He's got a huge arm. He's got great pocket presence. Like, he makes big plays happen down the field. He's going to be very fun to watch, man. And that team made the college football playoff last year with Curtis Rourke as their quarterback. Watch out for the Indiana Hoosiers this year, man. They might be making some noise. Then we get to John Mateer and the Oklahoma Sooners. They're going to be playing against the lowly Illinois State. But the reason why I want you guys to watch this game in particular is just to watch the arm talent that John Mateer has, man. Like, he's got a super whippy arm action, super clean mechanics, quick release. He can throw with anticipation. Like, Wazoo was not a good football team last year, just like Cal wasn't a good football team, but Mateer jumped off the film last year, guys. I'm telling you, watch this kid play. He's gonna put up a lot of points going up against Illinois State. I'm really a big John Mateer guy. I think he's got a good chance to move up into the first round conversation by the end of the year. So who's your guy? Let me know down there in the comments section. Which college quarterback are you most excited to watch this weekend? I just gave you 7 quarterbacks to watch over the weekend here, guys. Which one are you the most excited to watch? All right, guys, that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon as well to let me know that you enjoyed today's video and you want more college quarterback content like this all throughout the 2025 season. All right, Damian Roy, my man, says, hey, nice hat, Jack. Man, I told you I would wear it on the show, Damian, and it literally came
today,
5 minutes before we went live. All right,
alongside the Micah Parsons news.
Yeah, right alongside the Micah news. And by the way, if you want to pull up the trade details on that,
yes,
we can talk about that to finish out today's show.
I'm going to pull it from Cowboys Talk, who is going through it right now.
So the Cowboys are hosting a press conference at 6:30 this evening.
How bad do you think that press conference is going to be?
Oh, so Kendrick Bourne is visiting the 49ers on Monday and then the Commanders on Tuesday.
Wow.
So, okay, so no Steelers. Maybe the Steelers aren't interested in Kendrick Bourne. But I guess we'll have to see on that. Honestly, the more time that goes on here, Ponzi, the more likely I see an OBJ signing.
I do agree. I mean,
he's Rodgers' boy, man. He's Rodgers' boy.
I really thought that we were going to see Gabe Davis. But
me too.
It's just really obvious that knee is not in the right spot,
I mean, like, how bad is it, though? Because, like, if you're bringing him in to be a backup, then, like, what's the risk? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's got to be falling off the bone.
Yeah,
there.
It's got to be, like, bad if the Steelers are not bringing him in. Because they need somebody to play backup, someone to play backup X.
Well, hey, the Cowboys are sellers, so you could get George Pickens.
I mean, the Cowboys don't make sense. They trade a third-round pick for George Pickens this offseason, then they trade their best player.
The Steelers might be getting a top 5 third-round pick.
Yeah, that's actually a really good. It's actually a really good point there, Ponzi. Where, like, you look at that Cowboys team. Okay, they've got an offensive line that's built to be a run blocking unit, not great pass protectors. But they don't have any running backs. Then they've got good quarterback mixed with 2 good weapons. But like I said, the pass protection is going to be shit. Then on the defensive side of the ball, you might be the worst run defending defense in the league, and you don't have a pass rush on the edge.
I mean, granted, like I said, you've said it at the top there. Coming from a Cowboys fan, our run defense wasn't that good with Micah in the first place. But trading a dynamic player like that is crazy. I mean, you can see the compensation here. It's wild. But
I literally cannot wait to see what Jerry's going to say.
we did. what
There's
we had to
there's
do.
only so much pie, you know.
Yeah, there's so much pie that you have, and you can only go, and you could really be a gambler, man, or you could go out with no chips in your hand.
This is crazy, man. Like, honestly, this might kill Jerry Jones.
This might kill a lot of people.
Like this move. It's one of the worst moves in NFL history. Like, you know how many teams would kill to hit the lottery with Micah Parsons in the draft, and then, second contract. He's what, 24, 25?
Yeah.
He's the most no-brainer, gotta sign him, get it done guy in the league.
More arguably
and they didn't do it. It's unbelievable.
More because you can make the case that the Steelers maybe couldn't have signed TJ Watt, getting older, but Micah Parsons is in his prime. I'm just worried too about the edge market now that $47 million is now the standard.
Listen, man.
Is this the largest jump from the edge market?
Hold on. So when JJ got his deal, Justin Jefferson, has anyone exceeded 35 besides Chase?
I don't think so.
So I think this is one of those deals where everyone's the next edge rusher that comes through, if Trey Hendrickson balls out again, this year, he's not making 47. He's too old.
No.
So I actually think it's going to be a while until we see an edge rusher make that much money. But the next big name receiver that comes up that wants to be the next highest paid non-quarterback, they're going to want 47.
Yeah.
So I honestly think it affects the receiver market more than it affects the edge market.
And I completely agree, too. I think it just affects all markets. You got to be, we haven't seen a deal like this for a non-quarterback.
Ever.
Credit to the Packers. They got to do what they got to do.
It's exceeding Jamar Chase's number by almost $7 million in this department.
Yeah.
I'm just looking up quarterbacks right now. Highest annual earnings for quarterbacks. There is currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just 11 players in the entire league that are making more than Micah.
We have other breaking news, too.
What?
Ricky Scoops retired after the Micah Parsons. It's a sad day.
Okay, but if we know Ricky, he will be back.
He said he's going to be back in March 2026.
Yeah. So he's not retiring.
He's taking a break.
Yeah, he's going into the offseason is what he's doing. But I will say this. I think Ricky comes back for trade deadline because that's what he did last year. He retired, then he came back for Devontae, and then he left again. So I think he'll be back for trade deadline stuff.
I see Cassie asking you to show the back of the hat.
Oh, yes. All right, so shout out to Damian Roy for the hat, but he actually put my name on the back of it as well. You guys can see that. It's a dope hat, man.
It's a very dope hat.
Everybody here at Chat Sports is very jealous of Mr. Sperry here. So big shout out to Damian.
That's the best.
Yeah, Ponzi. But Ponzi's feeling good in his Steelers talk hat, though, man.
Yeah,
he's feeling good.
I'm feeling good about that.
But yeah, man, just some final thoughts here on the Micah deal. I think you have to consider the Packers a Super Bowl contender. If Jordan Love can play even close to the level that he played in that playoff run and that end of season run in 2023, this team can absolutely win the whole thing this year with Micah Parsons in there. They still have Rashawn Gary to pair with him. Now, the interior might be a little bit in shambles because they traded Kenny Clark.
Which, honestly, that's a good pickup for the Cowboys.
Let's see who they got on the interior. They've got Nazir Stackhouse, Devontae Wyatt, and that's about it.
I like
Carl
Wyatt.
Brooks. Carl Brooks is less than 300 pounds. They might have to go out and, trade for a DT.
Or just sign Christian Wilkins if he's healthy.
That's true. Wilkins, goodness gracious, man. This is just.
I don't think.
Is this the biggest? No, I think this is the biggest trade 1 week away from a season ever.
The Khalil Mack trade was a big deal. How old was Khalil Mack when they traded him to the Bears? 28, right?
Something like that, yeah. We've never seen a superstar. We've never seen. I mean, this guy might be the best defensive player in football. Like there's a certain class of guys that you can consider in that category. T.J. Watt's a part of that category. Miles Garrett's a part of that category. Pat Surtain is a part of that category. Sauce Gardner stands would put him in that category. Fred Warner, like that elite caliber guy. I don't think if we've ever seen a guy of that caliber this young get traded. I
have over under on the Herschel Walker trade being mentioned in the Cowboys press conference like 3 times. Like I have the same feeling. Jerry's gonna go up to the stadium.
Yeah, if you really think about it, the critics really hated us when we traded Herschel Walker. But we won 3 Super Bowls after that.
But this is the up. I mean, yeah, he will mention the Herschel trade. He will.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He will. He's going to say those 2 first-round picks are going to be cornerstones of the team. Now, what makes this interesting here, Ponzi, is do you consider trading Dak Prescott next year? I think you do.
I do.
I mean, you're starting over here, man. You're starting over.
You're saying you're going to build your offensive line with young guys, going to capitalize getting them cheap windows.
Also, the Cowboys definitely just lost their locker room.
Yes, no, for sure.
What message?
You're saying as a Cowboys, player who needs to get paid. I mean, you saw it with CD, you saw it with Dak, how long they took it with them, and you're saying, hey, you either come to us and we don't want to deal with your agent, or you're getting traded. We don't want you here.
Well, I mean, I think Jerry's case is he doesn't have a problem negotiating with agents. It's just that he thought he negotiated it with Micah, and then Micah kind of like pulled the old switcheroo on him, and he didn't want that. But it's still dumb because it's bad business. Micah Parsons was the heart and soul of that defense.
Yeah.
And now they stink. They've got one of the worst linebacking cores in the league with DeMarvion Overshown out for at least half a season, it appears like. Then you've got no other edge rushers that are, especially not a number 1 guy. Sam Williams is okay. Marshawn Nealon, is he stepping up? I don't think so.
Both of those guys are coming off injuries. Sam Williams tore his ACL last year.
I mean, George Pickens, hope you're happy, pal. Hope you're happy, George, because you are in a dumpster fire right now. Holy cow.
I mean, that's crazy.
Couple super chats coming in. First one from Elevate LTs, otherwise known as Hat Guy LTs. Says, can't wait for George Pickens next year. I mean, is he going to demand a trade out of there?
I think their offense will still be pretty decent.
If they're trading Dak next offseason and trying to unload the money, they might as well trade everybody. Start over completely, because that's what this move does. That's what this move does. It says, we are done. Our season's over. We're starting over. That's the message you send to the locker room. And, of course, Jerry will go up there and be like, we could still win a Super Bowl without Micah. And it's like, no, you can't. You're not going to make the playoffs this year without Micah. You might win 8 games, and that's if Brian Schottenheimer can coach.
I don't think he can.
And I don't think he can. We might be looking at a 6-win football team right here.
I think it's even worse. They have the 8th or the 4th toughest schedule. They play the AFC, They play the NFC North, and they play the AFC West.
I mean, is it crazy to say that they could be last place in the division?
Yes. It's not crazy to say that at all.
It's not crazy to say that.
It's not crazy to say that at all.
Russell Wilson is still a functional starter in New York. They're going to have a great pass rush.
That defensive line is incredible.
Yes. And then Malik is going to be crazy this year. It would not – I still think those 2 teams will be around the 6-win mark or so. But, it's not crazy to say that Dallas finishes 4th in the NFC East.
Dak might pass for 6,000 yards because of how much they will be down. Alex L. with the $20 super chat.
Alex Land, you're my man. We appreciate you, man.
I believe we are $10 away from the raffle now.
Yeah, I think we're $5 actually.
$5, yeah.
$5 away. Let's put on a shot clock here. Let's go 2 minutes. Last call here, guys. We need to get at least another 5 to do the raffle.
Yeah, just like the Mavs. I've had very 2 different circumstances here with when I found out when the Mavs trade happened and when I found out this trade happened. It's crazy.
Honestly, this is very similar. You've got a superstar player in his prime and you're trading him away.
Like, I don't even think AD is comparable to Kenny Clark.
I mean, it's hard to compare NBA and NFL just because different positions have different positional value. Whereas basketball, if you add an impact player at any position, you know it's a big impact to the team. So
George Pickens.
It's just Jerry Jones. Somebody get this guy some help. Somebody get Jerry some fucking help, dude.
I'm born on the same day as Jerry Jones. Fun fact.
Really? So your birthday is the same as Jerry Jones?
Yeah, it's not a fun
dude.
day.
How much longer do we have with Jerry? By the way,
huh?
How much longer do we have with Jerry?
We might be at the end of our rope.
I mean, it's not looking good for Jer Bear here.
I always I don't know if you watched the documentary. I watched like the first episode.
I haven't watched it. Is it on ESPN Plus?
It's on Netflix.
Gotcha.
And he said something like, "Oh yeah, I was the architect behind that '90s team, completely overshadowing Jimmy Johnson."
By the way, the legend of Ricky Scoops, man.
Man,
what an offseason!
What a heater!
What an offseason! All right, so Alex L wants us to raffle off a hat here, so he puts in 10 more raffle tickets. Says donate my tickets. All right, so spam me in the chat.
So we have a bunch of tickets to donate. Because are we going to include your previous tickets, Alex?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So 13 tickets. We're going to give away 13 free tickets away right now. We just got a Venmo here, Ponzi, so I'll send that your way.
Gotcha.
All right. I will send this your way, my friend. And we'll continue to talk about Micah Parsons being traded.
Honestly, what else could we talk about, though?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, so we talked about the Packers. We talked about the Cowboys being absolutely done, and they're gonna have to embrace a rebuild.
They are. Honestly,
they're not good. They're not good enough to compete right now. So, is it? Man, I do think the Steelers will probably draft a quarterback next year, but is it completely out of the question they trade for Dak Prescott?
Well, that third-round pick becomes a bona fide second if the Cowboys stink as much as we think.
Yeah, that's
good trade value.
That's kind of the big thing there with this trade for me. That's great news for the Steelers because that third-round pick is going to be higher in value next year. So that's awesome. Derek Smith, my man, with a $30 super chat says, "Hey, my dudes." What's up, Derek? Thank you for the 30. You're a real one. We love you.
Does Derek have a hat yet?
He does. So he doesn't need to be in the raffle. He's already got one.
Alrighty.
Spam those me's. I'm just going to list off some names here, Ponzi.
And I will write them down, sir.
I will go Yinzer Jake. You're in. I'm going to only pick people that don't have hats. Joe Brown. Jack Hay. Vibration Therapy. How many is that? 3 or 4?
We have 4.
I'm going to go Christopher Domingo. Keep spamming those me's. I'm going to go Keith. I'm going to go Troy Mickelson. I'm going to go Anthony Wyman. It's with a Y. Wyman. How many is that? 6 or 7?
We have 8.
8? So 4 more here. Keep spamming those me's. I'm going to go with Sea-Dog. I'm going to go with Julian Morales. I'm going to go with Griff Daddy. And I'll go with Kevin Reed. Got a couple super chats rolling in here that we'll get to here before the raffle. Again, guys, $5 to get in, $10 to get 3 tickets, $20 gets you 10 tickets for today's Steelers Talk hat raffle. Going to be giving one of these away to one lucky fan. We'll stay live as long as you guys keep super chatting here. So
I mean, we could talk about this for a while.
Yeah, we could talk about Micah. We can talk about how this affects the Steelers. We can talk about trade rumors, whatever, man. Michelle with a 5 says, did you get my email about the missed PayPal from last live? Yes, Michelle. We showed it at the beginning of the show. And you got 3 raffle tickets. We gave you an extra raffle ticket for your trouble. So you get another one right here. So 4 raffle tickets in the raffle for you, Michelle. We appreciate you. And we got $5 from Steelers Nation. Says, how come no one? No, that one's for the one from earlier.
It did just. There we go.
And he says, Cowboys are now the Bengals of the NFC, can put up 35 points and give up 75 with no defense. Listen, man, Dak Prescott's going to be a hell of a fantasy quarterback this year.
I'm very upset.
And CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, by the way. Yep. As long as Pickens stays on the field, he will be very, very productive, okay?
He might be crashing out a lot, though, now.
Yeah, that's true. So, honestly, the chances of George Pickens crash outs just went up exponentially by the week. Have fun winning 6 games this year, Georgie. All right? Have fun, pal. All right, man. So, no more Super Chats?
I believe so.
All right. Let's get into the raffle now. Let's give away a hat.
Let me just send this to myself real quick.
Sounds good.
You generally got to wonder, though, too, regarding the Cowboys, like, how bad are they going to sell? Do you trade Lamb?
Yeah,
do you trade?
I don't think you trade Lamb. He's still young enough, and you have him under contract for a while. But, like, Dak, who, like, is the most expensive quarterback in the league, now, it doesn't even make sense to trade him.
I don't know.
That's the question. Do you still have more like signing bonus and roster bonus guarantees lined up, tied up in future seasons with him, where it won't make sense?
Well, I think the contract's backloaded. They did a lot of guarantees at front.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I think after next year, it becomes a little bit easier to handle. But we got this wheel already.
All right, here we go. Let's give away a hat.
Hat Club.
Who's going to join Hat Club today? Put my email down in the L3, would you?
Gotcha.
Ponzi. And the winner is going to be able to email me with your shipping address, and we will make sure to get you your Steelers Talk hat. Keith, are you in here, Keith? Let me know. Send hat to Keith. Send me your email address, my friend, and we'll make something happen. Or send me your shipping address via email. You can find me Sperry at chatsports.com there, Keith. Do we have Keith in here? Do we see him?
Keith, are you here?
Let us know, Mr. Keith. Do you see him in the chat, Ponzi?
I do not.
You do not? All right. Keith, let us know. Are you still here? There he is!
There he is!
All right, Keith. My email's down there below me. Sperry at chatsports.com. Send me your shipping address, and we'll make sure to get you the Steelers Talk hat as soon as we can. All right, man. I think that's going to be it for this crazy Steelers Talk show.
Yeah, wow.
We had a little bit of technical difficulties at the beginning.
I think it was honestly the Micah Parsons trade that...
I think you got frazzled.
I got frazzled, too.
I think you got frazzled because 20 seconds before we went live, we got the word from Ian Rappaport.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely bananas, but we got through it. We got our cuts done. We got to give away a hat today. Really fun show today, guys. We'll be back next week, Monday. Well, actually, maybe Tuesday. We'll see. I know we have a holiday weekend coming up, right?
Yeah.
Labor Day is next Monday, so we probably won't be at work next Monday. So we'll probably be live again. The live schedule will probably be Tuesday, Thursday, and then Sunday for the season opener. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man. Can't wait to share this experience with you guys. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we're going to have extensive week 1 coverage for you guys on this channel. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And from me and Ponzi, we'll see you guys next time. And until then, here we go, Steelers.